Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome to the first speaker showcase that we're hosting to showcase our 2025 speakers for the Women Thrive Summit. I'm so excited that you are all here to discover what we have here for you today. We've got some amazing women that are going to be presenting today. If you're joining us live, please let us know in the comments where in the world you are joining from. And if you're here to support maybe somebody that you know, or you have received our email and you're here just for inspiration, we want to see where you're joining us from. And of course, if you're watching us on social media, leave a comment below. Let us know again where in the world you're joining from and what particular platform you're watching us on. So I see our beautiful speakers lining up for today. And if it's the first time you're joining Unleashing the Power of Women Voices event by Women Thrive, you're in for a treat. During these events that we host every month, we usually showcase 10 incredible speakers from our community. And we've been doing this actually throughout our entire year. And before then, as we host the Women Thrive Summit, which is our annual women empowerment event. I'm so excited to meet many of you and for you to meet our community. This is such a beautiful opportunity to get to know various women who we are spotlighting on our stage. And a little bit about the Women Thrive. Women Thrive Media, we're here to empower, inspire, and support women in entrepreneurship, women in business, women who are doing phenomenal things, but not always have the stage to really present their ideas and what is it that they do. And if you feel connected with someone, if you feel inspired, if you feel like their voice and their energy really resonates with you today, I encourage you to connect. Of course, follow our speakers on social media and leave your own comments and social media handles in a chat below. If we haven't met yet, my name is Raimonda Jan, and I'm the founder of the Women Thrive Media, which is about supporting incredible women from all around the world. I love hosting events and doing public speaking. That is one of my passions. And usually we have a lovely co-host, Abigail, here with us. I'm not sure she will be able to join us today, but it's so great to see you. So I want to see in the chat who's here. Michelle Watson is here. Kathy from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Linda's here from Nassau, Bahamas. Carmen Simone from Maryland. Helen joining from the UK. Amazing. So good to see you. I am based in Spain, in Valencia, and I have spent many years in the UK as well. So Valvi from Toronto. Amazing. Good to see everybody. A couple of announcements I ought to make that in June we have our wonderful publication coming out. So that's Women Thrive book, volume 3, 20th of June. We have an amazing virtual book launch event. And for those who are aspiring to become authors, it's going to be a really inspirational event where we'll be spotlighting some of our authors who have spent the last 6 months writing their stories with us. So it's such a beautiful opportunity. Again, if you are aspiring speaker, if you're aspiring author, to meet these incredible women and be inspired to perhaps one day share your own story. Now, I also would love to say that our new magazine is coming out next Friday. So if you have not checked it out yet, Women Thrive magazine is here for you ladies, where you can read some beautiful stories of our community members and of course contribute yourself. Amazing. So we got people lining up. Amazing. Who's excited to get started? Leave us some comments in the chat. Let us know that you are ready to get started. I can't wait. These showcases are always very, very special, but be kind and supportive to our wonderful speakers, because this is their first showcase. And I'm sure you're going to meet more of our speakers throughout the year as we confirm more amazing speakers for the Women Thrive Summit 2025. Now, let me welcome our first speaker, who's Karen Sarmento. I am excited to introduce Karen, who's passionate and dedicated nurse practitioner for more than 18 years. And she's also the CEO at Sermental Mentoring Services. She specializes in empowering women to tap into their true potential as she understands the unique challenges faced by women. And she's too has battled some major challenges in her own life. And she's here to share her beautiful story. So, Karen, welcome. Good to see you here.
Hello, be
Oh,
here.
where are you joining us from, Karen?
I am from Massachusetts in the United States.
Amazing. Well, over to you, Karen. I'm here
Thank
to support you.
thank you, thank you. So I am so excited for this opportunity. I am truly honored. So as Raimonda said, I am a nurse practitioner and mindset mentor, and a mom to an 18-year-old boy who is probably my big why. And I started my personal development journey about 8 years ago after I had lost my fiance and my son's dad very unexpectedly in an accident, which took me down a very, very dark path. What I would have normally called a period of time that I'd be ashamed of or embarrassed of, or just my dark time, really ended up being the catalyst to some life-changing events, and what eventually introduced me to personal development and brought me to opportunities like this where I can help other women. And that's what's become my passion, is helping other women realize that their past doesn't define them, and that it actually it tends to qualify you to help somebody else. What happened, I think the words that really inspired me is somebody said to me at one point when I was really at a low, you know, what you don't fix in yourself, you pass along to your children. And to me, that was gut wrenching, because here I was thinking I was doing everything for my child, but in retrospect, I was a mess. So, as the kind of the cliche goes, my mess became my message. So here I am now. What I am passionate about is helping other women see the greatness that's inside of them, because it's already inside you, whether you see it or not. I see it. And I think we are meant to do amazing things. We were put here to do amazing things. And I help women to realize that potential. What I was finding in my career as a nurse practitioner is many women, by societal norms, are successful. Their degree says they're successful. Their job title says they're successful, but they're empty inside. So combine that with a past that kind of holds you stuck at ground level and keeps you from achieving great things. Those are the women I really like to work with. And just to really get to the nitty gritty of what you want out of your life, and to see that it's possible, because all things are possible. And I really believe we are meant for greatness. And I think when we stand together as women, that's when we make it happen. Think that's where the magic really is. I was so honored and I think divinely guided to this group of women, to Raimonda, and already meeting amazing women. I get goosebumps just saying that. But I think together we rise to amazing levels, and I think we stop showing up at surface level, and we show up strong with a self-image that really is capable of creating amazing things. So that's what I look forward to presenting to people. Embracing the whisper. That's my favorite thing to say, because we get these little whispers that tell us we're meant for more. Now, often we don't listen to it. So that's what I will be presenting about. I am so excited about it. And I encourage anybody to reach out to me. I have a nice Facebook community. I will put the Facebook group in the link. And please, I invite you, I welcome you to reach out to me at any time through Facebook, the group, or in Messenger. I'm here.
Amazing. Karen, how long have you been doing this work with women?
Oh my gosh. So I've been a nurse practitioner for almost 25 years that I've been working with clients one on one. But this sort of work, I really got clear on my message and that I had something to offer, I had something to bring to the table to help other women for the last 5 years.
Wow, phenomenal. And what's some of the transformational stories that you can share? How life changes really when you do the inner work?
Oh, when the inner work is done, you realize it doesn't matter what's going on around you because it's all inside. The strength, everything that's going on in your outside world, you attract to you. So when you're solid on the inside, you show up differently, you attract different things, opportunities, people, experiences. So it's all an inside job, and you can attract the best when you start showing up as your best self.
Yeah. What does it personally mean to you, Karen, to empower women with your message?
Empowering other women, it literally, I'm almost saddened when I see a woman who doesn't see her worth and I see it. So those are the people I love to get my hands on, because to empower another woman to see her own self-worth and realize her greatness is just, it's so powerful. And I just love it.
I'm so excited.
Did that answer the question? I don't know if it did.
Yeah, no, I think so many conversations we have had with the women in our community about the inner work, the inner healing that needs to happen. And it's so closely tied into our self worth. And as
Mhm.
you say, I've been through that inner work myself, and something just changes. And when that something changes, you almost become limitless. And that's what I see when women start to see their own potential. When you look in a mirror and you say, wow, like I see you, even if you just say it to yourself, I see you. You have potential, you have opportunities, and you have the confidence to go out and do it.
It's so liberating because the sky really is the limit.
Yeah,
And the old
absolutely.
thing, if she can, I can. So when I see another woman do something, it's like, oh, if she can do it, I can do it. Or I didn't used to see it that way. It was always, oh, she could do it, but that's not for me. I play small. You don't have to play small.
Yeah. And that's what I want this platform and the community and the women you see on stage. If you feel inspired, take that as an example of what's possible for me. What are the opportunities? How can I step into this greater version of myself? And a lot of times when women apply to our stage, they have this feeling of like, oh, I'm not sure. I'm putting myself way out there. And there they are. They land the opportunity, and it kind of forces you to step into this bigger version of yourself. And then you see all the other amazing women do incredible things. Like, no, but I always remind them, but you're one of them. You're also doing amazing things. You're here with your powerful message and the work that you're doing. Simply, you have to just step into it and lead away.
Yes. And the change, that's scary, doing new things. But on the other side of that, that's where the magic happens. So when you face those little, even the little jumps that are uncomfortable lead to the next big thing, the next amazing thing.
Yeah, Karen, so excited to have you part of our community. It's the first showcase. You're opening the first showcase, and that's phenomenal.
So excited.
For many more to come. For many more to come, Karen. I'm just honored to have you on that stage, and of course, see much more of you within the community and the showcases come up.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I look forward to meeting everyone.
Thank you so much, Karen Sarmento. If you feel inspired by Karen, this is our first speaker. Oh my goodness. Feel free to connect with her. She mentioned her Facebook group, and of course, it will follow up in a chat. If you have any questions, if there are some key takeaways for you, feel free to drop in a chat. And I love that you ladies are so supportive and vibrant in the community in the chat. So, our next speaker, Kathy, I'd love to welcome our wonderful speaker, Kathy Baldwin, who is one of our new speakers joining the lineup. And I'm so excited for you to introduce yourself to our audience. Tell us a little bit more about what you do, what your story, and how you plan on inspiring and empowering our ladies here today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me here. I can't tell you how excited I am to be a part of the Women Thrive community. I've been on a mission to create collaboration and unity with like-minded people, and I feel like my happy tail is wagging that I have found my peeps. So a little bit about myself. I am a Gen Xer from 1965. I grew up in what I call a very strange dichotomy, where I was the child of a teenage bride who found herself pregnant very young and got married and did everything the traditional way that she had been raised on with traditional values. But yet we were in a time where women's empowerment were coming to the limelight. Women got their right to be able to have a bank account and credit cards while I was in my late teens. And so as I entered the workforce, I had these very different ways of believing, and nothing was really aligned. There was the traditional be a good girl, be of service, do for everybody else, put everyone else's needs ahead of your own, as well as you are a woman, you are strong, you are here for a reason and a purpose, and you go. And those two belief systems clashed for me in so many ways. I found myself pregnant at 21 and chose to be a single parent. I chose to make sure that my child wanted for nothing based on my decision, but that meant having to work multiple jobs and follow the traditional path of get a good education, get a good job, be a good parent, do everything for everybody. And through this process, my body was falling apart. I knew I was under stress. I knew there were things that were happening, but I didn't know why and I didn't know how to resolve it. The doctors were looking for disease. They were sending me for tests for cancer, for all these different diseases to figure out what was wrong with me. But nobody knew that when your body has its own interconnected system, that it connects with your brain, your heart, your gut, that you have a central nervous system that creates stress. And when we suppress our emotions, when we suppress our thoughts and our feelings, and we put everything and everybody else ahead of us, we create disease. And I became the poster child for doing that because I was raised on the thought that you put your big girl panties on and you sleep when you're dead, but you just keep going. It doesn't matter how bad it gets. It doesn't matter how much pain you're in. Let nobody see you cry. Do not show the world what is happening, and you just be strong. Well, that goes against everything that makes us women. It took away my femininity. It took away my strength. And I developed fibromyalgia, adrenal fatigue, osteoarthritis. I had to have both of my knees replaced. My body was screaming at me and I wouldn't listen. It's not that I wouldn't listen. I didn't know how to understand the language. I didn't know that emotions are biochemical as well as vibrational, that they're information. I didn't know that when stress is not released and processed through your body, that it stays and creates inflammation, and that inflammation is the root of all disease. I didn't know any of these things that could empower me. But I had been a student for over 40 years. I had traveled around the world, taken every seminar, every course, every book. I just thrived on learning about empowerment. And I use that information to help develop other people and make them their strongest self. I didn't know that I could use it for myself because I never put myself on the list. You see, I had this strange belief that the more I gave, that made it a right for me to get it back. But it's not how it works. No matter how much I gave, that was not the recipe for how to fill my own soul. So I ended up having a complete, total nervous breakdown. I lost everything. I lost family, finances, home, relations. I mean, I lost everything. And it was the greatest thing that happened to me, but only after hitting rock bottom, because I realized that I was looking still outside of myself for the answers on how to get myself back into alignment, get myself to be the best version of myself. And the medical system gave me what I called pills and platitudes. So when I hit my absolute lowest point and realized that I was now in a position of life or death, literally, and if I was going to live, I had to do it myself. I took all of the knowledge that I had over the last 40 years, everything from corporate knowledge of root cause analysis and corrective action, along with quantum physics and neuroplasticity and neurology and psychology. And I pulled everything together and I started to rebuild myself. I realized that I had been an expert in how to build a business, but I had never taken those actual concepts and realized that I could build my own self. I could choose my own mission. I could choose my values, my boundaries. I could choose everything that was important to me. And I did not have to live with the crap of the rules that I had been taught. You see, I had been taught that I was only of value when I gave everything away to everybody else. And that broke me. And when I looked at the pieces of Humpty Dumpty all broken on the floor, and I looked at that mess sitting there, and I realized I didn't want to put those pieces back together. I had the right and the responsibility to step up and make a choice. And so I went inward and I found the exact thing that I had believed my whole life, that had been told in The Wizard of Oz, that when the Glinda, the good witch, went to Dorothy and said, "My dear, you've always had it within you. We have everything we need within us. We are electromagnetic, biochemical, energetic beings. We are interconnected and interrelated within the system we are. And we have been systematically disempowered so that we can become consumers and workers for a system that cannot and is not sustainable." We all feel the paradigm shift that we're in. And I believe that AI and automation and robotics is part of that paradigm shift. And it is going to take away the JOBSs that we went through our education system to learn and to become good employees. And what is going to leave us with? Well, that's going to leave us with everything that makes us human. Our compassion, our innovation, our imagination, our love, our passion, our unique gifts are being called forward more than ever before. And when we rise up together, when we collaborate, when we unite, that is when we are stronger. And I believe that it is women coming together, supporting women, that is going to make the difference in the world. Because I believe that the world knew how powerful we truly are when we're together. And so we were pitted against each other. We were turned into competition of each other. We were taught not to trust each other. And we actually became a disembodied force that the world needs. And so for me to be a part of this community, to bring my work of Unlearn the Crap book, to bring my Unlearn the Crap TV show, to bring everything that I have, my courses, my word, my everything that I have learned to the world where I can help make a difference, where we can unite, collaborate, and make the world a better place. That's my calling. That's my mission. And when I am living within that calling and that mission, I'm not lost anymore. I'm not broken anymore. I am so alive and more myself than I have ever been in my entire life. My body's healing. I'm unlearning my crap, and I am ready to move forward.
Kathy, what a powerful message. Welcome. How amazing, exciting to have you here to share your purpose and mission. And I feel the vibration and really the inspiration that you're here to share. What a powerful message, Kathy. I love that. Unlearn the crap. And if you feel called to connect with Kathy, please feel free to drop your social media handles in the chat. And we'll look forward to seeing you at the summit.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Amazing. Wow. How are you ladies enjoying this? I'm so excited to have many of you joining us today. I would like to see whether Linda will be available to join us. She's one of our authors, actually, who will be launching her chapter in the upcoming Women Thrive book. And Linda's joining us from Nassau, Bahamas. Linda, if you are available, pop on your camera. I would love to see you. But today we're here to meet the speakers and the authors of Women Thrive community, here with their inspirational stories of overcoming adversities, how they navigated their life experiences, what led them to success. And I believe that every woman has a story of, overcoming some sort of challenges that we're here to share with open heart and hope to connect with the audience. And, as you hear, a lot of these experiences that women have gone through are interchangeable, right? We have experienced some of the same struggles and challenges and navigated some of those experiences that a lot of times that you'll get to hear on our stage. Now I have lovely Linda joining us. I can see her in the green room now. Would love to say hello. Hi, Linda. How are you doing?
Good afternoon, Ray. Good afternoon, ladies. I am doing absolutely excellent today. So excited.
Great to have you here, Linda. You have been working with us with the Women Thrive book on your wonderful chapter. Tell us a little bit more about what to expect in the book that's coming out very soon.
Oh my goodness. How can I succinctly put together what to expect from this book? A compilation of stories from a group of absolutely amazing women who I've had the opportunity to work with over the past 6 months and really develop a family, a community, the opportunity to meet each and every week and to really pour our souls and our stories into this book in ways that we didn't imagine or dream possible. I've heard it from the ladies in our group. I know that I feel it. This is the first time that I have felt comfortable sharing my story and knowing that I've been able to do so with a group of ladies who care and who've handled my story with care. And as that time is drawing near, it feels so surreal that this is actually happening. I can assure every person under the sound of my voice that you will not be disappointed when you place your hands on this life-changing book.
Of course, in my hands, I'm holding volume 2, but volume 3 is just around the corner. The final manuscript is just about to get signed off or formatted. The beautiful cover will be in blue. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Linda.
For me, professionally, I've been in the financial services industry over 25 years, and that has been my 9 to 5, where I've been comfortable working, earning a living. I'm presently a real estate manager with an asset management company. And for me, the past, I would say, 6 years of my life have truly been life-changing. I've had some life-altering events happen to me, and you guys will be able to read more about that in the book. In terms of my passions, I'm a very dedicated marathon runner. I love distance running. I love to be on the road and being in nature. I'm also a very passionate public speaker. Persons who know me know that I'm very involved, very dedicated in Toastmasters. And what I can say that this book and being a part of this community has allowed me to do is to really narrow down where I want my next steps to be. 2024 for me is the opportunity to truly establish myself as a keynote speaker and be able to speak to other women who have shared and who have gone through some of the challenges that I have gone through as it relates to dealing with depression, dealing with loss, dealing with death and grief and separation, and being able to articulately share those stories with the world. And so that is something that I want to transition to for this year, to be that mentor, to be that coach, to be that support for other women who's dealing with those challenges, particularly as mothers, because I believe that balancing that with motherhood is truly unique. It can be overwhelming. And I think it's important to know that these issues, I know I'm not the only one who's dealt with it or who's dealing with it. And I want other women to know that you are not alone.
Yeah. And Linda, we had some very extensive conversations in the lead up of writing, and also as we wrote our chapters. Many women have gone through different things. And particularly in your chapter, you share a moment that nearly took your life away, right?
Yes.
And you hear to share your testimony, what happens when you really face yourself and your own wounds, and you step into your power and your purpose and your mission, how you actually turned your life around from wanting to end it one day to now having a real purpose in your life, which is phenomenal. We spoke extensively about this book and the stage and these opportunities that we get to connect and share our stories can be life-changing and life-saving for someone.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit more about that, Linda.
Thank you, Ray, for that. And you, even in your question, it's as if you have really stated it so perfectly. We as women go through so many things, and a lot of those things are really meant to break us. I know for me, it was dealing, of course, with my separation, coming to the end of my marriage relationship with a very young son, and navigating through that, because as women, when we get married and we enter into these long-term relationships, it's never with the plan or the idea that they will come to an end. And for me, I didn't know how to navigate through that process. And as I felt as though I was starting to slowly get on my way, then I, of course, had to struggle through the loss of my mother, and being a mother and now navigating through the rest of my journey as a mother without her. Having those two events happen so close together, it truly almost broke me, broke my spirit. And I am thankful that I've had the opportunity to be a part of this community, because when you're in it, you really feel alone. You feel like you're the only person who's going through what you're going through. And to be able to connect with these group of women and know that so many of our stories, so many of our struggles overlap in our community of about 10 women. So imagine how many millions of women out there our stories are touching and overlapping with, and who can take away that I am not alone. And I really want that to underpin my chapter in the book, and of course, for the ladies who are on this journey with me. You guys are not alone.
Linda, I'm really grateful and for just beautiful and graceful message today, for stepping into your spotlight and having this bravery to share your story from such a vulnerable yet empowered place, and knowing that your message has a purpose to change some people's lives, and so timely, relevant, and so needed. So I'm really thankful for you. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you too.
I appreciate it. It was lovely to see you today. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Yes, and I'll continue.
Ah. Thank you, Linda. This was one of our upcoming authors from the Women Thrive, a book that is due to be launched June the 20th. So look out for our announcements. We're going to be having a wonderful virtual book launch event then. Right, I want to move on to our next speaker. I'm so excited for you ladies to get to know our speakers today. Next up, we got Cassandra Lambert, and I'm so thrilled to have Cassandra joining us for today's showcase. Please welcome her to the stage. Hi, Cassandra. Good to see
Hi.
you.
Nice to see you too. Again, yeah, it's been a great week. This is my third time getting to see you. Yeah.
I know, 3 times in 1 week. Isn't it
Yeah,
amazing?
awesome.
I love those wings behind you. Tell us a little bit more.
My angel wings, they're a little cricket right now. However, the chair without the wings looked like they had wings, and one of my clients was like, "You need to just put some wings on there," because like how you said you're like mother hen to all of us in the speaker program and in your programs. I'm like the godmother for my clients. Like I'm like the mom they didn't have, nurturing them, loving them back to wholeness. So like the fairy godmother wings are on my chair.
I love that. I love when our clients, again, see our greatness and see our magic, because sometimes we just do, what we know we're good at, and almost, not realizing how powerful the transformation that is on the other side for the recipients, for
Yeah.
the work that we do. So, Cassandra, I want to welcome you to the stage to share a little bit more about your magical work that you do, and how this passion came about.
Yeah. So I've always been an artist. Even young, it was like what helped support me because I went through a lot of trauma, childhood trauma. Sorry, I might get teary-eyed, which is funny. Because I'm actually writing my first book. It's Into the Light, Becoming My Own Hero. And it's really about childhood trauma, and sexual abuse. I went through sexual abuse from age 5 to 8 by my sister's dad. I guess I'm getting emotional, which I wasn't expecting. And it really changed the trajectory of my whole life. It made it where I felt trapped in hell. Like, no matter what, I seemed to get in these situations because of the trauma, abusive relationships with men all through my 20s. And I actually also was committed to doing the inner work. However, when I got pregnant at 30 and was facing being a single mom, it was almost like any of the healing work I had done to that point didn't even scratch the surface, because all of a sudden I have this little one that I had to take care of in this crazy world that I never quite felt safe in. And in that moment, it kind of made me turn towards creator, or source, or God. Everyone calls it something different. And I realized I had a lot of anger there, because of, like, if there is a higher power, why would they let little kids go through these dark things? And why was I forgotten? And as I repaired that relationship, it led me to somatic work and very specific practices to do daily to just support my energy and being grounded, because I'm also a highly sensitive person. So like everything, everywhere, all the time, just like would overwhelm my system and put me in anxiety. So I found clinical EFT first, and then I found brain spotting, and then I found a somatic attachment therapy, which is also similar to inner family systems. And from that was born my program, Pain into Power. And it's really just about taking all that pain, that emotional pain, that pain that's so hard to face, the pain that's hard to feel, the pain that's hard to just, you don't want to feel it. You try to avoid it with everything. But and taking that and actually transforming it into your power, your superpower, so that you can move forward. So it's really too about moving from being a victim in your life and those repetitive programs and repetitive um, patterns, and really transforming to move more into thriving, which is why I was like, this program was so awesome. Like I had to jump in, right? Anything with thriving, right? Shifting those trauma responses and survival ways of being into like actually becoming empowered with true choice and being able to create the, like being a powerful creator, because we're all powerful creators, but um, we get disconnected from that because of maybe life experiences or because of even transgenerational trauma and programming too. So um yeah, I really love the work that I do with women. I really love being a part of the whole process. And I really love like when we do a lot of the heavy lifting, right? Like a lot of the heavier pieces, the trauma, and then we get more into finally getting them to creation mode. So then they get to like focus on, well, what do I want to create now? What is my purpose? What are my gifts? You know? And it's just a really great experience to witness, hold space, and be a part of that entire transformation. That's kind of like in a nutshell. Yeah.
Cassandra, what a beautiful work that you do. And it's really transformational when you do the work from within. And a healing journey is like peeling the onion. Sometimes
Mhm.
we don't know how far it's going to go.
Yeah. Yeah. It
Yeah.
really is an onion too. It really is. That was actually one of the key things too, was to embrace that the healing journey is not like a target or destination. It's really a lifestyle, right? Because we're ever evolving, ever becoming, ever growing. And so like there's always going to be another layer and another thing. And we have no control of what's out there. So like curveballs can come at any moment. So really cultivating the resiliency to be flexible, right?
Yeah. And it's just, you talked about feeling, having to feel it,
Mhm.
having
Yes.
to almost face some of the traumas and pain because it's not easy. And a lot of times the trauma actually shows up when something trigger us,
Mhm.
trigger the same response or triggers emotion or tears,
Yeah.
sometimes a whole breakdown or even physical reaction to something. Um, yeah, you met women. Do you work with women who are currently going through sort of the healing journey and the transformation?
Mhm. Yeah, I tend to attract moms probably because I am a mom, right? So there's that kinship there, but
Mhm.
also a lot of women who've been through some kind of sexual violation or sexual abuse, or like narcissistic mothers or emotionally unavailable parents is another thing. Also women who've gone through, like, abusive relationships, especially with narcissists, is another one that I tend to like, they tend to gravitate, and it's really because those are my lived experiences. So when I'm helping them, it's not, like, from textbook, it's from actually walking through the fire myself to the other side. And I remember in my own healing journey, like I was looking for someone to help me get through my things, and I never quite found someone I felt understood me at a core level. And what I realize now is like I became her. I became that person I was looking for so that I could be her for other people.
Yeah, and be that for yourself as well, because having gone
Mhm.
through, childhood trauma like that, it's not an easy thing to. I take my hat off to you. That's your first showcase. You haven't done many speaking engagements, and to be so brave to share something so vulnerable to the audience because you know that by sharing your story, you allow others to be less alone.
Yes.
And you're truly an inspiration, Cassandra. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Cassandra, please do make sure you drop your information in the chat if anybody wanted to connect with you. Yeah, if you have maybe a website or any way where people can connect with you. I'm excited. You're going to be part of the summit, and I'm sure we're going to see many more of these showcases sharing your message.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Appreciate that. That was Cassandra Love Lambert. What a powerful story. And I hope as you get to listen to our speakers today and throughout this entire year of the women that we're spotlighting on our stage, that you truly feel inspired and less alone. And I know what it feels like to feel alone, to go through traumas, to feel in the darkness, like you have found yourself, without support or understanding of others, as if you were trying to conquer the world yourself. And I just want to say that no matter what situation you are in your life, just remember you're never alone. There are other people who have gone through some situations who you can feel inspired by and, of course, connect with. So I'm grateful to have you all here. Make sure you let us know in the chat where you're joining us from if you are enjoying it. We only have a few more speakers today, so we only got a handful of speakers today. So I want to see you fire it up in the chat. Let us know where you're joining from the UK. Fantastic. Coach K, Carmen, Simone joining from Maryland. Amazing. Toronto, Canada. I'm loving that. All right. I have another wonderful speaker joining us today. I'm so excited for you to meet her. We have been hanging out in our virtual speaker rooms for a few weeks now. Michelle, what an inspirational woman she is. I would love to welcome you, Michelle, to the stage. And feel free to unmute yourself. Let us know where you're joining from.
Me forgetting to unmute. Had to be me.
That's all right.
Great. Thank you for having me on, Raimonda. I am Michelle Watson, and it's a privilege for me to just be here tonight. And as Raimonda mentioned, I am a woman. I'm working with women to really create a lifestyle around their business as opposed to creating a business around their lifestyle. So I'm a business mentor and a performance mentor as well. And I am truly thrilled to be here tonight. And just been hearing the amazing speakers and hearing their journey and just realizing that some of our journeys overlap and is quite similar, but it just shows that we have maybe a similar destination and many of us have gone down a different route to get to that destination. And so tonight I'm going to share a bit about myself just to introduce, I guess, you to Michelle. And I mentioned a while ago that I am a business mentor and a performance mentor, but my journey didn't start that way because guess what? I almost killed this girl. And every time that I say that, I go back to remembering the journey that has got me from that point where I didn't think my life was worth anything to be here on this earth to who I am now, a completely different individual. Somebody that is making a difference, somebody that is also motivating others. And at that point in my time, I was at a roadblock, and that roadblock kind of took me to the entrance of a very dark tunnel. And I would love to say that I was able to see the light at the end of that tunnel, but I was not, because it was very dark. And I know a few of the other speakers mentioned that they had also been in that very same place, because I couldn't see the end of that tunnel. And with the help of my family, my friends, my church, and the personal development world, I was able to get from that place to where I am now. And I learned 3 crucial lessons on this journey, because I was in an abusive marriage, attempted suicide, had suicidal tendencies, struggled with debt, had a tumor, parenting a child with special needs. And my life slowly crumbled, and slowly but surely I started to lose the identity of who I was. And I was able to go on this journey and recognize that that person that almost killed this girl was in a dark place. And that person wasn't able to see the woman that I am today, because all she could see was the turmoil that was happening around her. And maybe some of you are at that point where you're able to relate, where you were at a point in your life when everything seemed as if it was going to fail, where you couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. In fact, you couldn't even see the end of the tunnel. And that is where I was. And so I love nothing more than going out now and sharing my story and empowering other females to recognize that where they are now is not their final destination. I always say to individuals, something that I once said to myself, my life is not a mess. It's an incomplete message. And I want you to take that away today. Whatever may be going on in your life that makes you think that where you're at right now, it's a mess. It is not a mess. It's an incomplete message. And tonight I want to share 3 things with you that really, really stood out on my journey and helped me to get through those moments to being where I am now. And the first one is a quote, but I did a little bit onto it. I'm not trying to steal it because it's not mine. But it says, you do not have to be great in order to start. But the bit that I've added on is that, but you do have to take a step in order to recognize your greatness. At that point in my life, I had to take a step in order to recognize my greatness. I had to take a step out of that place of darkness and step into the light of the truth of who I am. Because 9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10, the things that shows up for us in the areas of darkness, they're all lies. And until we take a step out of that, we won't be able to recognize the truth about who we are. And sometimes taking a step is scary because sometimes you have to step into the unknown. But the beauty of stepping into the unknown is that it gives you a chance to actually recognize who you truly are. Because sometimes when we're in that place of known, we tend to hold on to the things that we believe about ourselves. That's not necessarily true, but it may just be something that was passed on to us. For me, it was the lies that my ex-husband told me in the marriage. The way that he told me that I was ugly, the way that he told me that I was nobody would want me. And I held on to that for a long time, right? And so we need to step out of that and go into the unknown and start hearing some different things. And I was able to do that. So my encouragement is, you don't have to be great to start, but you do need to take a step in order to recognize who you truly are. And the second lesson that I learned is never, ever allow the permanent pause to keep you in one place. Never, ever allow the permanent pause to keep you in one place. Now, what do I mean when I say the permanent pause? I'm talking about that P word, perfectionism. Perfectionism, it held me captive for a long time because I was in a place where I heard for so long what I was not good at and who I am not, that I started to hold on to these flaws and make these flaws be an identity of who I was. And so I always was trying to fight for perfectionism before I did anything, because I always looked for the fault in whatever I did or how I showed up. And what then happens when we enter into that space is that it makes us become someone that constantly procrastinates. And so the perfectionism leads to procrastination, and then the procrastination leads to the permanent pause, never taking the step. But here is the thing that I want you to hold on to and remember. You never ever know where your imperfect step will lead you to. We never ever know where our imperfect step will lead us to. And we cannot edit a blank page. So until we start writing, until we start doing, we can't edit what we have not yet started. So we start writing, we go out there, we start doing, and then we can edit what we have started. And lastly, thank you, Ellen. And lastly, the last lesson that I realized is that our life is a book. When we were born this empty slate, right? We were born this empty book. And every day, everything that we do, everything that we experience builds our story. Unfortunately, there's going to be bad in it as well. So you have the bad, the ugly, the indifferent. But there's some beautiful moments that are in there. Those cracks that happen sometimes somehow forms a beautiful shape, right? And so what I realize is that I can't go back and rip out the pages of yesterday. I can't rip out the pages of the abuse that I went through. I can't rip out the pages of the fact that I attempted suicide. I can't rip out the pages of making the wrong decisions. We can't go back and rip out those pages. But what we do have the ability to do, what we do have the power to do, is decide what is going to be written in the next chapter of our book called life. And so these three elements, or these three lessons that I've learned, have really helped me to get from that place of being the one that almost killed this girl to now helping others recognize the beauty in who they are. So I do hope these lessons are a blessing to you tonight, as they have been a blessing to me. And I absolutely enjoy every moment and looking forward to sharing a lot more with you guys on this journey. And that's it from me, Michelle. Hey.
Michelle, so beautifully said. Oh my goodness, your mess is your message, and you got to step into that greatness. It's not complete. You're still writing it. You still have the opportunity to take that pen, take charge, and the things you have had to overcome, Michelle. It breaks my heart knowing there are people who tell women that you're not good enough, you're insignificant, you're never going to achieve anything, and there you are living your greatest life. You've conquered those things. You're here to share your wisdom with the world and show that no, those things are not going to define you.
No, definitely not. We're not defined by our experiences. In fact, I think it's an avenue for us to recognize our true strength. I didn't know how strong I was until I experienced what I experienced, and I'm able to look back and say, oh my God, so I actually came out of that, and I'm still here, and I'm even better for it. So even for me now, people always ask me, have you forgiven? Have you been able to let go? Do you still speak to him? And I'm like, I have forgiven. I'm actually grateful to him because he set me on a pathway that I didn't know that I would have ventured onto. So I'm instead of being bitter, I got better. That's just it.
Oof, wow. Michelle, that's a true powerful leadership right there for you to say that. I use the thrones people have thrown at me to build myself right here where I am today. And you just got to smile and say, it's okay. Whatever you throw at me, I know I can survive.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely.
Beautiful. I love it. Last parting thought for today.
Last parting thought for today. Go out there and be the mark. Go out there and be the mark. I remember I was walking through the sand one day and a thought came to me, Ramonda. And the thought was, we were making these like just footprints in the sand with our feet. And by the time we walked back, it washed away, right? And the thought that came to me was, what type of footprint am I leaving? Is it one that will just get washed away the moment water runs over it? Or is it one that will last until even after I've left this earth, somebody will be able to say, Michelle walked this earth? And so I believe each and every one of us has that within us. Sometimes we want our story to sound like somebody else's because we think, oh, if it sounds like somebody else's, then it's powerful. But I believe every single one of us has a unique story and something special about us that somebody is waiting to hear. So what I'm going to leave with you is that a message not shared is a story not heard and a life not saved. So go out and save lives.
Wow, Michelle, you're certainly doing that. I know you're speaking a lot on various stages. I want to congratulate you for being that inspirational woman today. And I want to celebrate the woman who has overcome everything that you have had to overcome to be here and to be the shining example for other women that self-empowerment begins here, begins within yourself, and you can take your power back and shine.
Definitely. Thank you so much for having me, Ramonda.
Thank you, Michelle. Beautiful message. Powerful speakers today. You're getting to witness on our virtual stage. If you're feeling it, please let us know in the chat. Don't hold back. We want to hear from you. We only have one more speaker, so I hope you stick around for the last 5 minutes, 10 minutes perhaps, for today's showcase. What a wonderful lineup. And honestly, I'm inspired. We're just getting started with showcasing our speakers for the Women Thrive Summit. You'll get to meet these incredible women every month, every third Thursday of every month. We hold these incredible events, so I hope you tune in. Right, next up, I have wonderful Safa here. in Waiting in the Wings. I'm excited for you to hear from her. She's got a wonderful message. Of course, a little bit of side shape there. We're rocking, Safa. I love that fresh shape. Safa, welcome.
Thank you so much. I am so excited to be here today. And honestly, I've been listening to everyone just wrapped with covered in goosebumps to begin with, but just wrapped in the beauty of this moment and the fact that the title is Unleashing the Power of Women's Voices, and we've felt that. And it all happens on a full moon because of course it does. It was meant to be.
Yeah, universe always aligns the divine time for everything and divine people to be in that specific room. And when the speakers question, like, will anybody care? Will this matter? Will anybody watching? The fact that you are here today, you are meant to hear somebody's message. And even however much time passes after the showcase event, somebody perhaps will be watching this with, that need for a message. And here you are sharing it. So Safa, I am very excited about what you got to share with our audience today.
Absolutely. Everyone's medicine is needed and necessary. And so, just a little bit about me. My name is Safa, and I am a feminine embodiment and empowerment mentor. And the cusp or the heart of what I do basically comes down to the fact that I believe fervently with every fiber of my being in women's power. I believe that every single woman on this planet is able to tap into their goddess essence, has a right to be fully lived experience of that goddess essence. And that every time that she speaks up and gets capacious and takes up space, we all benefit from it. I believe in women's power because precisely I have seen it develop in my life in such a unique way. And I was one of those people that when I was very young, I actually felt quite the opposite. I remember I used to run up to my mom when I was like about 2 or 3, and I would just throw myself on her lap and say, I just want to cry. And my mom thought it was the most endearing thing in the world, not knowing, because I didn't know this either, that there was so much sadness underneath the surface because I never felt like I belonged. I never felt like I was in a safe space. I had been undergoing, unbeknownst to her, physical abuse by one of my family members, and that affected me. I felt very much uprooted and like I didn't have a place to land. And to top it all off, I developed a very contentious relationship with myself. I just started relating to myself as the villain in the story, and I started very much dissociating from me as like a person. I would love to tell stories about the person that I in my imagination was, and I would get very fantastical about it, but I didn't really fully know who I was. And as I grew, this developed into something really interesting. So it developed into an eating disorder, it developed into suicidal ideation, and it developed into people-pleasing patterns that eventually got me stuck in toxic relationships that lasted way too long and that were just draining the life out of me. And the truth is, I didn't even care. I didn't see this as a problem. I didn't see this as disempowerment. I didn't recognize how disembodied I was. I just figured this was the way that things were and that was what I deserved. And it really, when I started getting into conversation with other women in my space and in my world and recognizing some of the similarities, some of the same verbiage, some of the same pushing away, self-depreciation, self-invalidation, was when I started to put things together in my mind and to say, this isn't normal. This isn't the way that we were meant to be. And so it all started sort of in a roundabout way with me taking my first yoga class ever. And from then on, what started happening is the more I was willing to sit with myself and listen to my heart, the more willing I was to go into my shadow self, the more capable I became to hold the uncomfortable, the more I was willing to date and romance and seduce myself, the more life started to take on a different hue. It felt brighter. It felt more alive. It felt filled with everything good that you could possibly imagine in this world, like just abundant and green and verdant abundant and full of love, which was something that I never thought that I could find. And I found a home within myself eventually. So once I went into that world, what started happening is the conversations around me deepened. And I saw a bigger and bigger need within each woman's heart and eyes and within their very bodies, this need to connect back to self, to come back to heart, to remember, to have that remembrance of what it is like to fall so madly in love with the self that every moment in life feels like a romance for the ages. Because I think that we go looking for that externally, consistently, or at least I did. And when we don't find it, we lose our way, or we think that we're not worthy, or we believe that we're not good enough. And we fall into some of the most prevalent feminine core wounds out there. One of which is this paradigm of the good girl, where we just really think that the idea of life is for us to bend ourselves over backwards so much that we will break in order to keep everyone around us happy and safe, and just for them to feel all the things that we want, for them to feel deserving, to feel loved. We believe that it's up to us to break who we are in order for people to get that. And this is where a lot of times the disconnect to self comes. That's why I believe there's this really interesting dynamic with self-love and the conversation that we have around self-love in our environment, where it's this idea of you can love yourself even in the little ways. Like, even if that means, oh, my body's good because I can walk today, or my body's good because, you know, I can wrap my arms around the people I love. And I think that that's a good starting point. However, I believe from personal experience and just from the conversations that I get to have with people, that it's about more than that. Falling in love with yourself is what it's about. And that falling in love means that we have to be willing to open up our hearts in a very vulnerable way to not just every aspect of who we are, from the shadow to the light, to the in-between, to the comfortable, to the discomfort, you know, all the things, but that we get to enter into a very intimate, devoted, and ultimately loving and courtship type relationship with ourselves. And I think that that's really where a lot of that power comes from. So when I say I do feminine embodiment and empowerment work, it's not because I believe any woman in this planet is disempowered. What I believe is that we are disconnected from self, and that we just need sometimes a very small glimmer in the middle of the dark, a little reminder as we're moving through that proverbial fire to help us bring about that upsurgence, that revival, that rebirth. And so what I love to say is that I believe in women's power. I believe that this is a reality. I don't ever doubt it. I don't approach people from a place of, oh, you're broken and we're going to fix you and everything is going to be good after we patch you up. I really believe that we are perfection as we are, in the most imperfect way, and that we are goddesses that are here to take up space, that get to be the women that we were meant to be. So that vision that we have of the woman that we dream, that life that we want to sink our teeth into, we get to have those things. And we get to have those things because we are worthy of everything good in this world. And sometimes all we need is a gentle question or a little ask of where you can connect to the self a little bit more deeply. And that's where we start remembering that power that lands us in the space of expansion, and that lands us in that place of revitalizing ourselves. So this is the work that I am here to do. And I am just so honored to be here with everybody today.
Safa, whoa, that was just beautiful, so inspiring. The message that you shared, deeply and madly fall in love with yourself and appreciate it. You know, how many times we say we feel like we don't belong, and the sharing of, you know, having that safe space. We gotta give it to ourselves and create it for ourselves to start with, because we're so much looking outside of ourselves to complete parts that we're longing for. And I love this message that you have and the work that you do in this world.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much for holding that.
Yeah. Safa, what are you excited about for the summit? I know it's going to be happening next year, but you joining our community to really show the leadership and lead away with your inspiring message. What do you hope that this year is going to bring?
Yeah. Oh my goddess. So I have been excited to join from the beginning just because I firmly believe, and I think someone said this earlier, but I firmly believe that when women come together, magic happens. We truly are a force in this world. And it is magnificent to see what happens when we open our hearts and we hold ourselves in community, because we are very communal by energy. We're meant to hold each other as sacred and as divine, heart to heart. So one of the first things that happened when I was thinking about this opportunity in my life was like, this gets to be a place where I jump in and I join in community and we get to be in sisterhood. You're kidding. This is great. So that's one of the things that I'm most looking forward to just watch that and to allow it to also be the healing force that not just us, but like our grandmothers and their grandmothers needed for so many generations, so that the little bits of information that still remain within that subconscious and that energetic frequency can shift. And so for me, this entire summit is about holding one another in just the sacred heart of love in such a way that we can inspire each other in the community that we were meant to be. Someone said, I think I saw this on TikTok, and it was this really quick video that said like alpha females don't run in packs. And I laughed, I cried, and I got so angry that I was red for like at least 5 minutes because I could not believe that this information was out there. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, the feminine thrives in packs. This is what we do. The more we get together, the more powerful we are, the more life we breathe into each other, the more like we just like shine. And it's just like a deeper reminder of why these spaces are important. It's breaking that paradigm. It's like saying, no, you don't get to determine where my power comes from or what it looks like. I get to do that, and I get to invite these wonderful human beings into my lived experience because of that. And so that's what I'm looking forward to most.
Wow, Safa, we're going to be running in the pack. Life-changing. Safa, thank you so much for your message. I'm so excited, honored to have you on our stage. We're going to see so much more from you, no doubt, leading up to the summit, building community, inspiring people, and changing lives. So appreciate you being here today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. This was our last speaker, last but certainly not least, as you heard from Safa, how important it is to surround yourself with women who uplift you, who hold space for you, who support you and understand what you're going through. So if you're feeling inspired by today's message from any of our speakers, I encourage you to please connect with them. In the coming weeks, we're going to be announcing more of our speakers. And of course, you'll get to meet our speakers in the upcoming showcases. Go ahead, check out womenthrivessummit.com. If you want to follow us, if you want to engage in future events, we've got some free events that you get to participate in and connect with amazing, amazing people. So highly encourage you to join our waiting or our email list so you can receive information. Today was phenomenal. Our incredible speakers work on empowerment, leadership, feminine divine energy, empowerment, healing, and there's so many topics that we've shared today. So if you feel inspired, do make sure you connect with us. Michelle, thank you. Cassandra, Carmen, Safa, Helen is here. We had some wonderful, wonderful speakers. So Karen Sarmento joined us earlier, Kathy, Linda, Cassandra, and Safa. I hope to see you again next month for our next Unleashing the Power of Women Voices event. From me today, Raimonda Jan, it's been a pleasure and honor to host today's event. And of course, I hope you feel inspired, motivated, and empowered to take life and thrive and go out there and shine your beautiful self and make an impact in this world. I want to say thank you to all of you and of course our wonderful team behind the scenes who help us make this event happen, and to all of our sponsors at the Women Thrive Media. We are so grateful for helping us making this happen. And of course, to all of you, audience, who took the time out of your day to be here, to participate, to listen, to create safe space for our speakers to share their beautiful and such vulnerable stories and hope to inspire you. Last but not least, I want to remind you about the upcoming Women Thrive book. You can grab the volume 1 and 2 now, and volume 3 is coming out June the 20th. We're going to be having a virtual summit, so I hope you get to join us. And of course, if you have not yet subscribed to our beautiful magazine that is in shipment globally, it's going out next week and is going to be available digitally next Friday. So grab yourself a copy at womenthrivemagazine.com. And if you feel inspired to share your own message, your own story, you can apply. You can apply to be featured in the magazine. You can apply to be featured on our stage. Connect with us, and we hope to see you very soon. Take care, everyone, for now, and I hope you have a beautiful weekend. Bye-bye from me. Take care. Bye-bye.